All right, I can only think of a couple of reasons as to why it's so hard to finish projects around the house, around the shop. I have two, maybe three shelves full of carvings. I mean, these aren't small shelves. These are like 6-foot long shelves full of carvings that are unfinished to maybe 1 4-foot section of a shelf that's finished. And it's been this way since I can remember, right? The only time I finish carvings are when I have a defined deadline. So there's only two real solutions that I've found to help me with this problem. The first is to create deadlines. Fake deadlines. Don't have to be real. They can be short-term deadlines. They can be long-term deadlines. The short-term deadlines can be defined by a time schedule. In other words, a time calendar. I use a real simple method called time boxing. You can look this up online. I'm not going to go into details. Basically just a way of taking the daily task and putting times to them, right? And a short-term, even shorter-term method is to use a timer, right? Just have a little timer floating around when I'm starting a carving or finishing a carving to set it and to give myself the boundary of saying, okay, I'm going to stop carving at this time no matter what. That helps, because then Parkinson's law states that as things, as in a given project, that the time allocated can shrink or expand the timeline, right? So if you give yourself 4 years to do a project, that project might take all of 4 years. So reducing the timeline can sometimes make a huge difference. Not always, but most of the time. So if I really feel extra antsy or distractible, I will have a timer going. Another constraint is filming yourself, or live streaming yourself, even better yet. If you have a defined accountability of people watching you, that will force you to get things done at a more efficient pace. So those are ways, but so restricting the timeline, of course, having a calendar, creating a launch period. If you're an artist, having a deadline, having a day you're promoting to put out your artwork, no matter how much you get done, that's the launch date. That will motivate you to make more stuff. That's a longer term way of constraining your time. Those all fall under that category, though, of restricting your timeline. The other solution, the only thing I can think of, is to take things more seriously. And this is due to the readings of Steven Pressfield. Steven Pressfield talks about how in the creative journey, each creative person faces resistance. Resistance is this internal distraction or internal impulse to flee when things get difficult. And he says the solution to that is to treat art and to treat the creative process like war. When you're distracted, no, you wage war against that distraction. You wage war against anything that keeps you from putting your butt in the seat and getting that work done. Maybe it's a manic way of handling things, but I think when I'm really struggling, I will push through with that sort of warlike attitude, right? Carving or making art is not this fanciful thing of frolicking through an open field like a bunny munching on daisies. No, this is a real intense physical, emotional journey, and you have to have the resistance, the resistance to resistance, right? You have to have the ability to resist the temptation of distractions, resist the temptations of the amazing food that's in the fridge, and resisting the amazing temptation of hanging out with friends when a project needs to get done. And I'm not saying you ought to have this unhealthy balance of life where you're just sitting in your workshop making stuff all day. Life is to be lived and enjoyed. But when you're working, work. That's it. That's it. And I'm speaking to myself as much as anyone else here. So that's that. I hope this helps in some ways. I know it's still an ongoing struggle and probably will be for a while for me to just get the projects done in my shop. But I'll let you know if I get any better at it. All right, take your vitamins. See you guys in the next one.